All right, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Friday morning here, 9:19 a.m. That's California time. February 21st, 2025 is the date. Latest activity on the earthquake 3D globe shows a 3.0 here across the Taiwan area. A little bit of movement happening down there south of Southern California as well on the Imperial Fault. Got a decent swarm of earthquake activity kicking up there. USGS showing just a fraction of the quakes here into the Gulf of California region, just off the plate boundary, for a number of threes and a number of other earthquakes there in that mix, as noted on the EMSC model. Got about 7 or 8 earthquakes there of various magnitudes. Nothing big, just some threes out there, but it is a little bit of swarming off of the plate boundary just south here of Southern California. A lot of times we'll see following activity such as this, elevated activity in Southern California. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything elevated across the southern portion of California. Just some general small microquake activity out there, but we'll continue to watch that. This swarm of earthquakes there in the Golfo de Santa Clara area, Gulf of California region, striking out here early this morning for a number of threes and some twos out there. So just keep an eye here on Southern California. We'll watch for some advancement northward. The rest of the area, some movement out around the Long Valley supervolcano, just outside the Caldera region. Not uncommon to see swarms out here, but we got a couple smaller earthquakes today. Looks like some of those from yesterday as well, but about 5 earthquakes south of Mammoth Lakes here in the Sierra Nevada mountains. For the Nevada area, a number of earthquakes as well, including a little swarm outside of Wellington off of the 395 here, 3-pointer this morning. Yeah, actually, that's from the majority of these from yesterday. In fact, to the T, 9:21 a.m. yesterday. So this is just about ready to drop off the map here, as we're at 9:21 right now a.m. the next day. So some older activity there across the Nevada region. In fact, that just went yellow. Aside from that, Bay Area, California region, a couple smaller quakes around the San Andreas Fault, a 1.7 and a 1.3 from yesterday. Nothing going on across the Hayward Fault for now. Northern California, number of earthquakes from yesterday and today. Just been a somewhat of an elevated sequence of events out here, and it has to do with the Cascadia subduction zone. A lot of tremor happening down there into the deeper areas of the Cascadia. By the way, quick glance here at the tremor map from yesterday. I didn't get a chance to do a late night update last night, but I try to at least do 2 updates a day, but it was pretty busy last night. Had some things going on. 11 epicenters of tremor, although if we look at the last week here, that's been somewhat elevated across the southern portion here of the Cascadia subduction zone, and that adding some strain upstream where we're seeing the more recent earthquake activity here in the last few days, and also up here across Redding, Red Bluff area. A lot of surface fracture quakes going on up here, indicative of the strain out here being accompanied by the tremor, right? You're pushing that plate underneath the North American region here, and it's adding some strain, and we're seeing that right there with the earthquakes. Further up north, through the Washington and Oregon area, a couple smaller quakes outside of the Mount Hood area. Beautiful volcano up there. Love. It's been a while since I've been back up there. We're up that way. I have to get back up there in the summertime. It's a beautiful drive. A few earthquakes from yesterday and today up around the Mount Hood area. Not a whole lot going on for that volcano, as we can see here on the Mount Hood seismograph stations. We'll pull up this one, see if this one works here. I was looking at this yesterday. Well, this is way overblown in terms of the amplitude readings, but there's a couple smaller earthquakes out there. Really nothing big. Otherwise, it would be noted across the seismograph station. So occasionally, we do see these little small microquakes across various volcanoes across the Cascades. Here's Mount Rainier. A little swarm out there in the last 7 days or so. But if we look at the Rainier area as well, pull this station up here, it just nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, some of these may be ice quakes, but there's really nothing of any major significance out there. There's a little small localized earthquake, 2.6 near Goat Rocks. But aside from that, yeah, just little bitty earthquakes happening around the volcanoes, but nothing big. Up in Alaska, I've seen a little bit of movement up there. We'll check out the volcano stuff here in a minute. So for the rest of the area, got to watch that swarm down there south. Maybe some further migration northward. Up in the Yellowstone area, nothing showing up really on the map. I was checking this out just before the update, and it appears as though they have not updated their seismograph stations here. This is still from yesterday. This is yesterday's event, and that reading that you see there on the graph is the 4.7 up in Canada. So this is still from yesterday. No new data to report here across the Yellowstone area. Texas oil fields still getting hit out there. It looks like they're still kind of working on their maps, although it's improving, right? When you zoom in here, well, at least to a certain mode, it works as it should, but they're not quite back to normal yet. There's still a couple different options here, such as a satellite view and other topography type maps that are missing, but they are aware of it and they're working on their improvements. So let's see what they come up with. Be nice if they included some international quakes there below the 4.0 threshold. That would be an awesome option here. I don't think it's that hard to implement EMSC data into the USGS maps. All right, earthquake activity around Japan. Mixed bag from yesterday and today. The latest of 4.8 into the Japan Trench here, 32 miles deep for that quake. Not seeing a whole lot of activity out there today. Just that one new earthquake. Some from yesterday. One shallow adjustment right on the Nankai Trough here, 3.6 from early this morning. It looks like USGS not reporting that quake, but that's an area that we have to watch pretty closely. It's coming up for a mega quake, and that's very well where we could see our 8-pointer here that we're expecting right across the Nankai Trough, coming up on the regular intervals of large quakes there for that region. In terms of time period, let's see, Indonesia Islands area, very typical clustering going on there today. A lot of older activity here from yesterday. A little bit of movement south here across the New Zealand area with some threes, following the deeper events up north here from yesterday. But a lot of old quake activity. The Aleutian Trench up here, 4.9. That is from late last night, I believe. Yep, about 10 o'clock or so, 4.8. 34 miles deep or so across that area. The rest of Alaska looks average. Not a whole lot going on up there aside from some 2s and maybe occasional 3 or so. Got a little activity out here across the southeastern edge here of the Pacific Plate. That's on the Nazca Plate boundary and the Pacific Plate boundary. That's an area of divergent activity, separation here of the seafloor slowly, it looks like. So that area, I normally don't get a whole bunch of large quakes out here, but when we do see quake activity, it normally enhances regions across the Middle America Trench and the South America area along the Peru-Chile Trench. Not a whole lot happening right now across the Peru-Chile Trench, but slight increase in movement there across the Middle America Trench, as noted, with a lot of these newer rings popping up there. Nothing big, just a little bit of elevated activity. We'll definitely keep an eye here on Southern California, because that's a number of earthquakes there, and really no sign of any migration yet, but I have a feeling we'll see that here soon. 3-pointer down there across the Peru-Chile Trench. The Atlantic Ocean pretty quiet. So far as the Mediterranean area goes, it looks like a couple different swarms going on. Let's go ahead and check out the Santorini area. Make sure we got the most recent data here from the geophysics Greece stations here that monitor the earthquake activity around the region. Of course, Santorini volcano area and the Colombo volcano. Still seeing some earthquake activity out there. USGS really not showing anything, I don't think, across the area. This is from yesterday. Oh, yeah, yesterday out there in Greece, but nothing showing up on the USGS map side of things. Still a number of earthquakes out here in the last couple days. They don't include, well, let's see, this is the last 48 hours right here. Still got quite a bit of earthquake activity happening. Last 20 days going to be a huge number. And even so, I don't think these guys are showing all the earthquakes. But man, is it kind of slowing down the computer a little bit. That's crazy. Not often does that happen here with me, but that was a pretty significant swarm out there. Let's check out the live data here across this area. 733 earthquakes in the last, that's probably about the last weeks, last 7 days. I'm not seeing anything showing up there on the live seismograph station there for now, but the latest earthquake appears to be a 1.8. Still a mixed bag of earthquake activity across this general region in two separate type areas here, but you know, it's still continuing. We're not looking at any type of complete absent of earthquake activity. This is still an ongoing event, and I don't think we're over with it. There's a Santorini area seismograph station position right here. We'll check out the recorded data. Still a number of earthquakes there is noted, and a lot of those just some 2s and some 1s, an occasional 3 popping up. No 4s out there in the last couple days. So a gradual decline in earthquake activity compared to the past couple weeks there. This map was so cluttered with earthquakes we couldn't even see these lines in the background, the seismograph stationary lines. So still seeing earthquake activity, although it's dying off, but don't let your guard down. Things still could ramp up here. Just a little quiet period. As far as any major news there from the Volcano Discovery website, let's see what we have here in their latest data. A couple different volcanoes out there. Ones that are almost always in eruption stage. I'm just kind of looking for the let's see, nothing on Santorini up here in today's news. Of course, with the earthquake activity dying off a little bit, well, that could play a part in why they're not covering it. But there's a little bit of volcanic activity around the Atka volcano in Alaska. It was a small explosion there. Looks like 7:26 p.m. local time last night. The USGS did put out a informational statement on it. Let me go check it out here real quick. Let me zoom in just a little bit more here. It is a Friday. Hopefully everyone's got a good weekend in store there. I don't have a lot planned, but it's supposed to be pretty nice out here. Low 70s in Northern California. What's going on with the... Okay, that's right. They did refresh their servers out here. So there's the Atka volcano in orange. And, of course, it did have a little small ash explosion here last night. This data was put out from yesterday. Again, 9:11 p.m. yesterday evening. A single small explosive event was detected in local seismic and infrasound data at the Atka volcano complex. The aviation color code here was changed from green and normal up to orange and watch. So it looks like this was just a short-lived eruption there, or an ash eruption type explosive event, less than 10 seconds long. It is likely that a small amount of volcanic ash was erupted during this event. But that's about it. No major change there for now. Seismograph stations there look fairly quiet aside from that little event. We'll continue to keep an eye on that, though, see if anything changes out there. Not a whole lot else going on here across the area. Still got the Great Sitkin volcano and periodic unrest. Spur up here still having some earthquake activity. The Cascade volcanoes in California, pretty quiet. All green across the board there, including Yellowstone out there in Wyoming. Kilauea volcano, I believe, came back to a pause after the 10th episode that took place there yesterday morning, or about 2 days ago or so now. This latest update here was put out yesterday. Notice that episode 10 paused at 9:18 yesterday morning after only 13 hours of fountaining. So a rinse and repeat cycle, as I've been saying all along. Here's the eruption, right? Notice the pause here, or the deflationary event on the chart. That's a depletion of the magma from below up to the surface. There's the pause. Now we're going back up. This is the inflation chart here, and it's just a continual cycle of pause, eruption, but each event obviously going down more on the chart, and it's taking longer for each eruption to happen here after that, after the end of the eruption. So got a few days here before we'll see maybe a return to in eruption status for the 11th episode there across Kilauea volcano. Let's see what else we have here across the area. Let's see, largest earthquake here in the last 24 hours from yesterday, 5.1 Vanuatu region. Today, after midnight, 4.9 here across the Nepal area, north of the Himalayas. This is where that 7-pointer struck here a number of weeks back. Still seeing some aftershock sequences there in that area. Aside from that, let's see what else we got. Just a little, well, what's that? A 3.8 up here across Japan. That pretty shallow earthquake there. Got to keep an eye there on the Nankai Trough. It's a major subduction zone that's building up. You know, it probably already has enough strain there for a mega quake. Just a matter of time before we see some activity there on that subduction zone. Nothing big happening for now, but we'll continue to watch that. All right, space weather activity. I think we had a little M-flare movement last night. Very quick, impulsive M-flare right here. Actually, we had one, two, looks like two of them. Notice a sharp uptick here overnight. That means that one of these sunspots out here are starting to build. I believe it's this newer region right here that's circled, unnamed. That was last night. Here's the most recent imagery. Notice the size difference from last night to today. It's growing, and quite rapidly. That will be a newly assigned sunspot number. These newer ones like that, when they pop up out of the blue, have to watch them because they can quickly grow into a massive sunspot with some large flares. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Also, notice down here, a lot of intermixing within this sunspot core. A lot has changed here since the update that I put out this morning. So we've got this newer sunspot area capable of producing some stronger flares. Also this area down here, a lot of intermixing. So we got at least two different areas, 3998. Notice yesterday it wasn't all that complex here, but today's imagery popping up here with these deeper colors in close proximity, indicating that magnetic structure complexity where we see potential flares happen. So 3998, and the newer one up here, it's not named yet. Well, on this one it is, so I guess it's 4,000. New sunspot, new number, 4,000 right there. So keep an eye on that one. Overall flare threat is increasing. I know these guys still have theirs set from yesterday. I still have mine set at 1 and 50%, but I'm going to adjust that. Just looking at and observing those sunspots, showing some growth quite quickly. 10% for an X flare is probably a good reading right now with these newer areas. These guys show 40% chance for an M flare. I'm going to bump mine up to 60. No major auroras in the forecast. Nothing happening there on the aurora oval as far as the forecast goes, so pretty quiet in respect to that, but that could change here in the days ahead. As far as any close approach asteroids go, I was going to say, is that the Tesla car coming back? Well, it's an 11-foot car-size asteroid, 186,000 miles. Pretty safe there for that small asteroid. Everything else, fairly safe as well, millions of miles away. Nothing in the near term of any close approaches here. I mean, obviously, that's somewhat close, but once it gets under about 50,000 miles or so, then we'll look into it. That's when it's pretty close. All right, any storminess going on out here? Not in Northern California. It's bright blue, clear sky. In fact, I got a little sunburn yesterday. I was just out there for a short time mowing the grass and picked up a little sunburn. Got to put some sunscreen on here today. But it is beautiful out. It's supposed to be about 71 degrees. I'll take it. No major severe weather in the forecast. I'd like to see a little bit more rain out here in California. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe extreme Northern California northward, but that does not include me. After that, man, we got temperatures almost around 80 next weekend. Maybe a little bit of rain back for the West Coast as we enter into March. March can actually be quite wet for us out here. And it looks like that pattern may kick back up. So I better stay on top of the grass out here. Got a couple acres I got to mow. And we got a bunch of bull thistles and foxtails. And if we don't get a handle on those, well, you guys know what happens here in the summertime. It makes for a headache. Nothing quite like going outside and coming back in with foxtails all over your socks and your pants there. That's just not good. So we'll see what happens here. But still a lot of cold air dipping down here across this area of the country over the next couple model runs. All right, quick glance at the seismograph stations. Couple small earthquakes on Yellowstone, one on China Lake, Southern California. There's that earthquake in Japan. I think that was a 3.8 over there around the Nankai Trough area, just north here. So just keep an eye on that region. Keep an eye here on Southern California as well with that swarming happening down along the plate boundary. That is just a hop, skip, and a jump away in terms of the plate movement, right? I'm literally just due south here of the San Andreas Fault. We could easily see some adjustment take place here through the day today. Right now, pretty quiet there across Southern California, but that could change. Have a good one. We'll catch you guys out here a little bit later on this evening, folks, for the Friday night update. I'll definitely be out here tonight. I don't really have anything planned, so the menu is open. We'll see you guys out here later tonight.